Everybody get a cup of coffee and calm down. Are you serious, Emmanuel Macron? Are you trying to bring the June doom gloom? Well, we'll talk about this here in just a second, but this is crazy. Crazy. Hang on a second. I'm trying to go live. I'm having little problems at X. And maybe they don't. Yeah, X don't like me using Emmanuel Macron. Okay. Unbelievable. So it wants me to change something. I don't think I will. So I don't know if we're not going to be live on X. Okay, so just here, for some reason, there's a problem. X probably doesn't like Macron announces two-state solution. But what do you want me to do? He did. He said he's going to. I'll read it. I'll tell you all about it here in just a second. First, let me put a shot. It tells you the AI censorship, even at X, which I'm sure Elon Musk wouldn't approve of that. Okay, here we go. Guys, TonyProtein.com/Paul. Brooke Burke, a fixture in the entertainment and wellness industries for decades, known for her roles in Dancing with the Stars and Wild On, is not one to shy away from the spotlight. But shortly after she turned 50, despite her expertise, the fitness icon suddenly found herself battling a body that seemed to be working against her. Now Brooke is opening up publicly about her experience because it's one millions of women face. Unexplained weight gain coming out of nowhere, muscle loss, declining energy. And she's revealing how she discovered one thing that made her leaner, stronger, healthier than ever. And she says today at age 53, she feels amazing. Her abs are tighter today than they ever were 10 years ago even. What changed for her was she began biohacking and discovered that she needed more protein. But not just any protein, one specific protein, which was a total game changer. And when she found it, she says it was like uncovering a secret weapon for weight management and muscle gain. Everything changed for her. She said, I'm leaner, I'm stronger, I'm better feeling than I ever have been in my whole life. She's sharing this now for both women and men. If you go right now and click on that link below this video, go to TonyProtein.com/Paul. That's TonyProtein.com/Paul. Find out right now, find out how you can also benefit from this too. All right. Oh, wow, man. I tell you, that's great to hear. All right. Here's what's going on now. As we're headed into Passover. Is this why Macron's doing this? Passover is Saturday. Is this why Emmanuel Macron is doing this? Is this what he's doing? Yes, I think so. You know, it's just incredible to me. But France could recognize Palestinian state in June, says Emmanuel Macron. The Middle East crisis lives on, folks. The Israeli minister says, they plan to prize. Israeli minister says plan prize for terror, as French president says we must move towards recognition, and process could start at the United Nations conference in June. France plans to recognize a Palestinian state within months and could make the move at a UN conference in New York in June on settling the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. According to President Emmanuel Macron, he said in an interview broadcast yesterday, he said, quote, we must move towards recognition, and we will do so in the coming months. Yes, Macron said that. He wants to visit Egypt. He was visiting there. He told France Channel 5 television that our aim is to chair this conference with Saudi Arabia in June, where we could finalize this movement of a mutual recognition by several parties, he said, and declare a Palestinian state. Now, he's the head of the EU, guys. He's the head of the EU. This is a significant statement. He's not just speaking on behalf of France when he does this. He said, I will do it because I believe that at some point it will be a right, and because I also want to participate in the collective dynamic, which must also allow all those who defend Palestine to recognize Israel in turn, which many of them do not do. So he's saying two-state solution. Such recognition would allow France to be clear in our fight against those who deny Israel's right to exist, which is the case with Iran, and to commit ourselves to collective security in the region. You know, again, like a Frenchman, he's talking out of both sides of his mouth. Americans do it too. But this, a lot of Americans do. What he's saying is he wants a two-state solution because he wants to be a part of help participating and making it in the collective dynamic. But then he turns around and says, because I want to do this so that everyone can recognize Israel. Israel's already there. Israel's already there. Emmanuel Macron. Megaphone. Emmanuel Macron, attention. President Emmanuel Macron, please come to the administration office. Emmanuel Macron, you're wanted at the prophecy conference. You're wanted at the prophecy conference. I mean, guys, I don't know what he's thinking. Okay? I don't know what he's thinking. Somebody wake him up. Wow. Somebody explain to me that parting the land of Israel, creating a two-state solution, how does that help the world recognize Israel as a nation? I mean, are you serious? France has long championed the two-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, including after October 7th, 2023 attack by the Palestinian militants, Hamas, when they attacked Israel and killed 1,200 Israelis, butchering them, murdering them, annihilating them, and dragging 251 people into hostage, of which there are still 34, I think, hostages, maybe still alive, something like that. Or maybe it's only 24 and 39 are dead. It's a terrible thing. But formal recognition by France, by Paris, of the Palestinian state would mark a major policy switch and risk antagonizing Israel, which insists such moves by foreign states is totally premature. And so Emmanuel Macron, Emmanuel Macron, everywhere you look, everywhere the world roams, you'll find Emmanuel Macron. Oh, build me a home without Emmanuel Macron, and the deer and the antelope play. I mean, seriously, what is this guy thinking? But this is part of, though, the globalist. This is part of the new world order, okay? This is part of it, this globalist concept, which includes anti-Semitic rhetoric and the push to part the land. What does the Bible say about it? Well, the Bible says, if we grab it, if we go to, I guess, wherever you want to pick, but let's go to Joel in the 3rd chapter of the book of Joel, because there we will find the prophecy about do not part my land, okay? Here's what it says. In Joel 3, verse 1, it says, "For behold, in those days, which are these days, and in that time, which is this time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. And I will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." Don't do it, folks. Don't bring the curse. The Lord said, if you bless Israel, you'll be blessed. If you curse Israel, you'll be cursed. If you want to prosper, pray for the peace of Israel. I don't understand, what is this got to do with him managing France? But it has everything to do with his continual global. He wants to be everywhere. Every time anywhere there's a conflict, Emmanuel Macron roams in, and he's bringing now the June doom and gloom. Emmanuel Macron, why don't you just go home? Emmanuel Macron, please go home. Are you serious? God bless you, Snow.
Saturday was silent.
You're welcome.
And surely it was through. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? And Friday's disappointment is Sunday's empty tomb. Since when has impossible ever stopped you? This is the sound of a dry bones rattling. This is the praise make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Pentecostal fire, stirring something new. You're not gonna run out of miracles anytime soon. Your resurrection power, it runs in my veins too. I believe there's another miracle here in this room. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. This is the praise make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling.
Somebody shout. Thank you, Vilma. Margaret. National Fruitcake. Daniel, Butterfly Wind.
My God is able to save and deliver and heal and restore anything that he wants to. Just ask the man who was thrown on the bones of Elisha if there's anything that he can do. Just ask the stone that was rolled at the tomb in the garden what happens when God says to move.
Are you serious?
I feel him moving it now. I feel him doing it now. I feel him doing it now. Do it now. Do it now. This is the sound of dry bones rattling. Yeah, this is the praise make a dead man walk again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Open the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling.
I got breaking news on Turkey and Israel. Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Prophesy and say to them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my people, I will open your graves and cause you to come up from your graves and bring you into the land of Israel. This is huge.
I will place you in your own land. You shall live, 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 live.
Turkey and Israel are going into an emergency negotiation. Let me tell you why in just a moment.
This is the sound of dry bones rattling.
Dry bones live.
This is the praise making dead men walk again. Oh, in the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Oh, in the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. Oh, in the grave, I'm coming out. I'm gonna live again. This is the sound of dry bones rattling.
All right, we have breaking news. We have breaking news coming out of the Middle East. I want to thank Dana for throwing in that quick update. It's just now printing right now. Hang on. Israel has been bombing certain locations in Syria, and these locations are Turkish military positions. And but it's in Syria because you see, Turkey's the one that funded and propped up this rebel group that went in and took over Syria and took President Bashar al-Assad out of power. It was actually a coup. It was actually a regime change backed by Turkey. Now, here's what's going on now. Now, Turkish and Israeli officials are beginning to talk. They're aimed at preventing unwanted incidences in Syria. Negotiations have begun between Israel and Turkey, where militaries of the two regional powers are very active. Turkey is very active with their military in Syria, and so is Israel. Now, the Turkish sources are saying that it's technical talks. They said they're meeting in Azerbaijan, and they marked this as the beginning of efforts to set up a channel to avoid potential clashes or misunderstandings over military operations in the region. In other words, Turkish troops don't want to tangle with Israeli troops. They don't want to have a war break out between Israel and Turkey, and nobody does. But according to Reuters, the report is saying that efforts will continue to establish this mechanism, says Turkish sources, without providing any further details on the scope of the timeline of the talks. An Israeli political source confirmed the meeting took place and said that Israel made it unequivocally clear that any change in the development of these foreign forces in Syria, and in particular the establishment of a Turkish bases in the area, is a red line and will be considered the breaking of the rules. So let me say that again. Israel political sources are confirming the meeting that's taking place, that Israel made it unequivocally clear that any change in deployment of foreign forces in Syria, in other words, Turkey, if you come in there and try to set up bases, this will be considered a red line. And, of course, then Israel will deal with it. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office confirmed in a statement that the Israeli delegation led by the National Security Advisors had held talks with Turkish officials over in Azerbaijan yesterday, and they're talking again today. Now, meanwhile, the initiative comes a week after Israel stepped up its airstrikes in Syria, which it described as a warning to the newly formed government in Damascus. It has also accused Turkey of attempting to turn Syria into a Turkish state. Israel's saying that's not going to happen. Turkish military teams had inspected at least 3 air bases in Syria where they could deploy forces as part of a planned joint defense pact with Damascus. But Israel then hit those 3 sites with airstrikes and blew them away. So Turkey went in, looked at the air bases, and was basically saying to the new rebel leader of Syria, Ahmed Sharara, basically was saying, look, we could set up our bases here in strengthening our relationship with Syria and our defense positions in the Middle East. They went and visited these 3 bases. Israel then flew in after that and just blew the 3 bases away. And then now are setting and meeting with Turkey yesterday and today. Now, according to reports, Turkey and Israel, which have traded diplomatic jabs at one another since Israel was attacked on October 7, 2023, Turkey immediately became aggressive in their conversation toward Israel and their condemnation of Israel. After Israel was attacked, then Turkey's President Erdogan verbally began to attack Israel. And Turkish foreign ministers, Hakan Fidan, let me say that again because that's really cool. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, I'm so glad I can say that, said that technical talks were taking place, emphasizing that such mechanisms were necessary to prevent the misunderstandings between these 2 regional powers. The talks were similar to de-confliction mechanisms Turkey has had with the United States and Russia. And that was broadcasted by CNN Turk. So, so Turkey and Israel have begun talks to avoid clashes in Syria. Israel's making it very clear you're not going to set up shop in northern Syria. And that's also known as the Abraham Corridor. Now, last week I was interviewed by Bishop Larry Ragland on his program, and that's when I broke the news about what's called the Abraham Corridor, which is the northern part of Syria, that there's been negotiations with some of the Arab leaders who are saying they'd be willing to let Israel have that corridor if Israel be willing to part the land and create and give Gaza to Palestine and create a Palestinian state. That discussion, or that proposal, I should say, was offered by Arab nations. Israel rejected it. They're not going to reward the Hamas with a 2-state solution. But Macron's announcing it, saying that he may just make it a proclamation when he's in a peace summit in Saudi Arabia in June. This could be Macron's doom, gloom of June. We're going to keep a close eye on it. Meanwhile, there's a comet headed toward the sun, but it's becoming more brighter and brighter and brighter during this Passover season. Is that a sign from the heavens? I can talk about that in a little bit. Don't miss tonight's broadcast with Mike from around the world, because it's going to be epic with the developments that are happening, not only with the tariffs and China and the United States, but also with this news coming out of the Middle East, also with what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, also with the horrible collapse of that roof in Dominican Republic, as well as the horrific storms we had that hit the United States last weekend, and the death toll there, and the storms seem to be getting more violent and more violent. We've got to talk about it. Is Planet X, the sun is erupting, massive plasma storm on the sun right now. There is so much going on right now that it's heartbreaking, and so we got to keep praying. Again, when we look at these world leaders, and again, it's not the people, it's the leaders, these regimes, a lot of times they try to force their will upon the world, and that's why we have problems, okay? That's where the problems come from, by those with ideologies that are either anti-Christ or anti-Israeli, which is, if you're anti-Christian, anti-Israel, then, you've got a problem, a big one with God. We're living in the last days. I'll be back, guys. Stay with this channel because it's going to be very busy today. There's a whole lot going on, including tonight. I got more information here. I'm going to be back in a few minutes with another video, including tonight's broadcast starting at 9 p.m. Eastern with Mike Around the World. And, of course, Passover. We are coming upon the Passover. It is April 12th through April 20th. Passover is huge. Maybe that's why we're starting to see this conflicts beginning, because it's Passover. It's the time that Israel was the chains were broken, okay, when the blood of the Lamb was applied. You know, I just preached a sermon last Sunday, 7 things that the blood of the Lamb does for us. And it's incredible. When you understand the Passover and the crucifixion, when you understand the Passover lamb and the Passover lamb, and at the end of days, the Passover lamb. The Passover is so key, not only to Israel being, the Jews, the Israeli people being set free from Egypt, but Christ being crucified during the time of Passover. He became the lamb. And then in the end of days, the end of days, the church, the bride of Christ, must be found blameless, washed in the blood of the Lamb. So there's significant information that's taking place in prophecy during this period of time. We'll be talking about that certainly. And if you haven't given your Passover offering, don't worry. Passover starts Saturday. That's when Passover begins. It's Saturday evening as the sun sets, and it's April 12th through April 20th. But you can give your Passover offering during that period. A lot of people like to do that. But some folks are going ahead and sending their Passover offerings now, getting out ahead of it. You can do that. And what you can do is some of you may want to send it by mail. And so you just send a check or money order or cash. You can send it to Paul Begley Prophecy. That's Paul Begley Prophecy, 1048-B for the blessings, 1048-B, Sagamore Parkway West. That's Sagamore Parkway West, Box 33. That's Box 33, West Lafayette, Indiana. That's West Lafayette, Indiana, 47906. Or you can just go to our website, go to paulbegleyprophecy.org or paulbegleyprophecy.com and give there at the website. When you send your offering, if you send it by mail, put your prayer request right in that envelope. We'd love to hear from you. We're taking all the prayer requests that come in with us to Israel the next time I go, including last year's, because we haven't had a chance to go back since the attack on October 7th, and the wars continue to rage on, and just not, I just don't have a clearance from the Holy Spirit on this. But certainly when I go, I'm taking all the prayer requests with me. I hope to do that later this year. Or you can call in your prayer requests. You can pick up the phone and call 765-414-2230. That's 765-414-2230. And you can give your Passover offering over the phone and also your prayer request. God bless you. I'll be back. Someone said, Pastor Paul, I had a premonition that Sunday the 13th, mega earthquake, a mega 9, followed by enormous tsunami will hit Japan. Let's hope that's just in my head. Yeah, let's just pray that was just a bad dream. Let's just pray that you had bad pizza. We don't want this to happen. God bless. Guys, I'll be back with more on the coming apocalypse. And if it was bad pizza, if you had bad pepperoni pizza, that could cause something like that.